Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, and today it is Monday, and there's a lot of Mercato happening in PSG and across Europe. But let's talk about PSG. I wanted to use this video to kind of like go through everything that's going on. There's not necessarily like one big thing happening today, but a lot of different little bits of news adding up. And so let's just like go through it. I think the first one, which I really wanted to mention, it is official on a new PSG player. Young goalkeeper from AC Milan, Alessandro Longoni, officially signed with PSG. He's going to be our third goalkeeper this year. Like I said, coming from AC Milan, high potential, and I guess a bet for the future. And we'll see what he gives. And he's going to be taking the spot in the squad of Renato Marin, who was our third goalkeeper last season. Also a big hope and youngster potential in world football at the keeper position, who's been officially loaned to CD Nacional in the Portuguese league. They finished 14th in the first division of Portugal last season. Renato Marin is going to be joining them. He's going to be likely their starting goalkeeper. So for him, it's his first opportunity of being the starter in a team, playing in the first division in a team in one of the major leagues. So a good opportunity for him to continue to develop. We hope, like I said, that he lives up to the potentials that we've seen. If he does, he's going to be coming back to PSG in a year, ready to take on Chevalier, Safonov, and see what happens from there on. All the best to him. In other news, the main thing that's been happening this week has really been about departures in PSG. We've talked about Gonçalo Ramos, which was the big one, officially signed with AC Milan for 70 million euro flat fee plus bonuses. So the total could be around 75 million, which is a really strong sale for a player that was really a good squad player. Never complained despite being a substitute and never really breaking into the first side. He did what he had to do when he was called on. He wasn't really at the level to be part of the first team, but at the same time, he really scored some critical goals for PSG throughout his years here. So the kind of player we wish him all the best. He did what he had to do when he was in Paris. We got our money on him when we sold him. It is football, it is life, so all the best to him in AC Milan. The other one who's going to be leaving very soon, it's not official yet, but Kang In Lee to Atlético Madrid. It's been a long-standing conversation because they've been interested in him for the past couple of mercatos. Now we're at the point where Atlético Madrid and Kang In Lee have found a deal on a contract, so that part is sorted. It's only about Atlético Madrid and PSG figuring out what's going to be the right offer for the player. Initially, Spanish media was reporting a potential fee around 35 million euro, which, if you remember, I had said in a previous video, I thought was really low for the player. Now, the latest information that's coming out is that we're talking about around 40 to 45 million euro, which I think is a lot closer to reality for a player who we had bought a few years ago for only 22 million euro, who's been also a substitute and never really part of the first team in PSG, but still part of the teams that won 2 Champions League. He still had some impact on those big wins. I think a 40 million fee for the player feels about right. If we can agree on something like this, all the best to him. We'll shake hands and he can go to Atlético Madrid and we'll see what happens there. This one is expected to be finalized pretty quickly. So likely at some point during the week is what we'd be looking at. Now, if we are unloading players, we're going to need to bring in replacement. The first name that is also expected to be a finalized deal relatively soon is Maghnes Akliouche of Monaco, a player that's been in the PSG orbit for also a couple of mercatos at this point. Last summer, Monaco was asking for too much money. They were asking for 70 million euro, which killed any sort of chance of a deal. This summer, apparently, it's going to be a little bit more realistic. We don't know exactly what kind of fees the two clubs are talking about, but likely it's expected to be in the 40 to 50 million euro kind of area, which I think is fair for the player who's part of the French team in the World Cup right now. He's been a little bit inconsistent this season and hasn't really shown his best performances, but he is a very talented player, a player that Luis Enrique and Luis Campos have had their eyes on for a long time. The contract between Maghnes Akliouche and PSG is also essentially agreed on. So it's just about the two clubs finding the right formula, and also expected to happen at some point in the coming week. So that should be happening soon. I think for me, like the question mark that I would have is the player going to be signing straight away, or are they going to be waiting until France finishes its World Cup run? That's TBD, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Beyond Akliouche, we're also getting reports that PSG and Leipzig are in conversation about Diomandé. That's going to be a very tough conversation. Leipzig is obviously expecting a lot of money for their player and don't really want to see him go. The player has expressed a preference for PSG, so the ball is in our court. But PSG is also doesn't want to overpay, which I think is fair. I think paying more than 100 million euro for a player that in the end only has one season in one of the top 5 leagues, doesn't have European experience, feels like too much. So we'll have to see what kind of deal we can do. I hope that we approach this one like we approached Vara a couple of seasons ago, and that we're prepared to walk away if Leipzig is not looking realistic. Instead of what we did for Zabarni last summer, where we kind of pushed until we just agreed to pay what Bournemouth wanted. So we'll have to see on this one, but yeah, I hope we don't go too crazy on it. Would be my perspective. Now, going back to players who are leaving the clubs and a couple of unwanted players that we're looking to offload. First one, Gabriel Moscardo, who was loaned to Braga last season, who's discovering a new path for himself as a central defender instead of a defensive midfielder, which was his original position, has been officially loaned to Espanyol Barcelona for the season ahead. No buy clause for Espanyol, so that's a player who's going to be continuing to develop, and we'll see again in a season if he can break into the PSG squad. The player had said he was hopeful to actually get a chance this summer and show what he could do with Luis Enrique. Obviously, that's not happening. So he still needs a little bit of fine tuning and figuring out. I do hope he gets a future though, because he hasn't had an easy run. Obviously, we recruited him. He had some injury issues. He's been on loan all across Europe, trying to get playing times and get back to the promises that he had shown as a youngster in Brazil. So we'll have to see. It's really a toss-up. So we'll see what we can make of it. The reality is that if he can get some playing time with Espanyol Barcelona, that's kind of a nice ramp up, nice step up. So yeah, we'll see what comes after. The other one, and I cannot believe we are going back to this. Big up to my friend Ento from the old lady, but Randal Kolo Muani, it is back. We are still negotiating with Juventus again and again and again. So this time what they're offering is a loan with an automatic buy-in clause, which gets triggered if Juventus qualifies for any European competition next year. Including the Conference Cup. So for a club like Juventus, you would imagine that'd be pretty much a given, unless huge accident. So that's what they're talking about. The two clubs are okay with that option and that way of doing things. The only thing is that Juve right now is offering 33 million euro, and PSG is really hoping to get close to 40 million euro. So there's still a little bit of a difference in terms of the fee. The two clubs are talking about it. Juve would like to get the player before they start their season prep on mid-July, I think 13th of July. So that's something that could move forward relatively quickly. Hopefully there's a little bit of flexibility on both sides and we can finally put this one to bed, because obviously that's a player that doesn't really have a future in PSG, only has 2 years of contract remaining, so it's time to offload. It's time to offload. And finally, to close off this video, it's not only the men who are hard at work on their transfer. The women's team in PSG announced the signing of Naomie Feller, French international coming from Real Madrid, a striker who can also play on the wing. She's got, I think, about 10 caps with the French team, so she's not she's not always called with the French side. I think she's about 24, 25-year-old. A big signing for PSG, honestly, a really nice one. And yeah, like hopefully, like boost the team and boost our chance with the women's team of finally like giving a bigger challenge to Lyon. I'm not even saying toppling anymore, but just giving a bit more of a challenge to Lyon, and you know, finding our way back to the top of the pyramid in French women's football. So anyway, those are all of the informations I had today for you guys on this Monday Mercato update. Let me know what you think of all of this. What is the move that is exciting you the most? What is the one that you're not excited for and not happy about? Let me know that in the comment. As always, if you made it this far, please drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, if only to show appreciation for the content. And don't forget, as always, as we go back to watching the World Cup, ici c'est Paris!